We're on. 6:01. Okay, so I'll take my sunglasses off. Good evening, everyone. I'm Drew. I'm the Mayor of Newquay, and I am pleased to be able to open this, the very first Planning and Licensing Committee of Newquay Town Council of this civic year. The first item on the agenda is the election of Chair and Vice Chair. So we'll start with the election of Chair. Do I have nominations for Chair? Councillor Kenny.
So I have great pleasure in nominating Councillor Sarah Thompson. As you know, I've done this job for many years, and it is the best job I've ever had, but it is time for someone else. Sarah has been my Vice Chair. She has shamed me with the number of applications that she sends these messages, I'll do 5, 8, 4 and 13. Do you want to do 8? She has shamed me. She is extremely good. I think she will be a great chair of this committee.
Well, that's a glowing recommendation. Seconded by Councillor North. All in favour? Well, thank you very much. I'll hand over to you, Councillor Thompson. Congratulations.
Good evening, everyone. Hello. Thank you for voting me for chair. I'm really looking forward to doing that. It's great. Very exciting. Thank you. Right. So I've got the job then of getting vice chair sorted, and I'd like to put forward Councillor Carter for that, from his past history of chairing planning when he was councillor before. So I don't know if we've got a seconder for that. Councillor Kenny. Any other nominations?
I'd love to, but no one's nominated.
We can nominate yourself.
Can I put myself forward?
You can put yourself forward. Yes. How do we vote when we've got two? One at a time. Oh, and a seconder. Seconder for Nick Morris. Oh no, sorry, Nick. Do we need to vote? We need to vote then for. Yes, vote for Councillor Carter. Sandy. Yes. Abstentions? One abstention. Wonderful, thank you. Are you going to come up here by me, Councillor Carter? Have we got the... Okay, are we?
That's just policies.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so before we talk to the people in the gallery, apologies.
This evening we have apologies from Councillor Brooke and Councillor Adlam.
Right. Well, thank you. Any declared interests that we want to declare, or as and when they pop out, when you suddenly realise, oh, it's my next door neighbour. Meeting management issues. With no fire alarms due. As far as I know, if there is any alarms going off, we can make out through the nearest fire exit and down the stairs.
I suggest we follow the practice, unless you don't want to, of, because we have more than one application here. Oh, no, we don't. Take it back. No, we don't have one, because one's the licensing application. Ignore me.
Okay.
There's only one.
Ignoring Councillor Kenny. So we have open session for electors of Newquay. So
We have minutes.
oh, minutes. Oh, because that was
sets
put
of
up the
minutes.
right. Yeah. So 2 sets of minutes. I presume you've looked at them in avid detail and that we're okay. So I'll propose the minutes. Councillor North second them, and we're okay. Yes. Yep. With the minutes.
Yeah.
Yep. Brilliant.
And just for clarity, Councillor Kenny will sign those as
Yes.
she chaired those
Just
meetings.
meetings, yes, because they're before the agenda minutes, so I sort of thought that. Right. Number 7, open session for electors. Duncan, who we talking to? Who's going to be talking first?
We have representatives for 10 Manuus Way,
Right.
Mr. Wells, and Ignacio. I'm not going to attempt to say the rest of your name, Ignacio, and I do apologise. We're just going to call you Ignacio this evening, who is the street trading applicant, La Pepa. So it's
Right.
one licensing and one planning.
And is it 4 people to do with the licensing? The 2 ladies at the back. Okay, wonderful. It's like secret planning application you've got in the back there. Okay, so shall we, the applicant with 10 Manuus Way, if we can... Oh, right, okay. Okay, yes, we can do. Yes, I thought we normally did it with who was in here first, but no. Okay. Sorry. Do we need to put anything up for us to look at the same time? I don't. Okay, so would the representative who's going to speak for La Pepa, would you like to come down? And if you put the red light on, say who you are, what you're coming here to talk to us about, and tell us. That'd be great. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, councillors, and everyone. Today here, I am Ignacio, owner of La Pepa, a catering trailer offering Mediterranean homemade food. I am here today in support of my application to place my trailer at the rear of Concho on Manor Road in a private pitch where you can find some car park spaces. A long and difficult journey to trade since I finished to build my trailer last June. Big effort, a lot of time and money invested. I've moved to Newquay 6 years ago. Since then I've been working in several kitchens around where I have the pleasure to contribute to hospitality, business and meet amazing people. Until roughly 2.5 years ago when I decided to invest and venture on my own project. The key details of my application are highlighted in the offering emails. However, I would like to confirm that the proposed trading area is situated in a private land of the highway limits. The landowner has had an input as the layout of the trailer, and I certainly have permission to operate from this land. It's important to note that the trailer will not encroach in the adjacent pavement, and the proposed area would be roughly aligned with the point where the footway widens up and meets the merge and build out the speed bump area. In addition, the junction of Manor Road with St. George Road is marked as a pedestrian zone with the only rough access to public transport vehicles. I feel it will be a positive addition in visual terms that the trailer is clean, attractive and well kept, and the trading area is not located within a sensitive area where, from a heritage perspective or in terms of potential advisory impact to neighborhood residential occupiers through adverse noise or odors impact. Electrical supply exists in the adjacent garage, and I also have permission to the landlord to connect it to. I will ensure the area is clean and tidy all the time. More importantly, I'm not duplicating any other one's offers. I serve traditional cuisine from Spain, paella, Spanish omelette, and other delicatessen from our gastronomy, and offer you don't normally find in town. This business is about more than food. It's about sharing culture, being part of the community, doing things in the right way, taking care of the environment by sourcing locally or recycling and disposal containers. I hope Councillors and Planning Licensing Committee agree that the proposal location and street trading proposal does not raise concern in relation to public security, public safety, public health, or the surrounding environment. Thank you once again for listening, and I hope it can be assistance in responding any question of the committee may have.
If I can, thank you.
Thank you.
If I can just ask a question before others, can chip in. I noticed on the application you're going to be doing paella, and it's going to be an 8-ring burner, a grill, a barbecue grill. There are 2 fridges, 1 freezer, a coffee machine, and various other appliances. Where are you getting your electric from? So there's not going to be a noise from that. You haven't got a generator. You're...
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
We'll just have to ask Duncan, there's a 2-space taxi rank there. Do I have to declare an interest being a taxi driver? Because I'd be less than 10 feet from him.
So,
If you go back down a little, but go back down the road, no, not that way. If you turn back round and go down just a fraction, it's about where that car is. It's there.
Ah, there we go, yeah.
Actually, it's a 4 taxi drop-off.
It's a taxi rank. We can
It
actually,
says 4 on
Yeah.
notice.
but we are actually allowed to rank up there.
There's no pecuniary issue here.
Okay.
So I don't see why you shouldn't have
Okay.
you shouldn't have a view on it. If you, really, I would say it's up to you. If you feel that you need to step back from this one, then that's absolutely fine. But I don't believe that there's any financial pecuniary issues here. Okay.
That's fine.
Right, so you've got a couple of pictures of your vehicle. Has it traded elsewhere?
I haven't started trading yet since I finished it.
A new enterprise.
Completely.
Right, I assume that the red Dormaville is absolutely nothing to do with you. The big red car that's in front of it, that's nothing to do with you. Because
Nothing.
that car seems to be parked in front of it anyway. Are you going to, so where is the garage where you're getting the electricity from? No, but where does that relate to?
There.
Is it going to be parked in front of it?
It's going to be parked.
Yes, indeed. Yes, sorry. Let me show you the plan. So this is actually, just for your information, this is actually on a piece of land that is privately owned.
Yeah.
The reason that Ignacio has to apply for a street trading consent is because he is within 5 metres of the publicly maintained highway. Okay?
Literally, the wire will go straight into the building behind your... And are you going to leave it, are you able, because it's privately owned, which you're very lucky, are you going to leave it there for the summer and then take it away, or are you going to take it away every night?
My intention is to be trading all year round. Obviously, some days with rains and atmosphere conditions, I will not be trading. And my intention is to keep it there.
Permanently.
Lights and during day, during night, because of the sizes and the inconvenience of moving it around all the time.
Because normally for street trading, we would be seeing, are you taking it away at night because it's in street parking? But because it's private land, that's fine, is it, Duncan?
Indeed. A good example would be the Thai ladies at the Ivydale. Yeah. If they were located on Esplanade Road, which is where most of our street traders seem to be, they would have to move at the end of the day, but because it's private land, they do not. Okay.
Do we have any guidance on street trading as to, in terms of planning or anything like that, or people being in a public place, or?
The key as a former licensing officer, I would say the key issues are, is the trader, the vehicle, causing an obstruction to vehicular or pedestrian traffic? Is the trader likely to impact residential dwellings with noise and odours? Those are the three key issues I would say for this.
Show us the garage again, because that's probably so this is where it's shown on this picture, is not what I'm looking at on the screen with the yellow van. It's been parked there, so that's what
Springfield. That's Springfield
what got me
Road. Sorry,
confused.
that's Springfield
So
Road.
this is just an outbuilding. Presumably there will be room for the owner to, I suppose he knows what he's doing, but this will be nowhere near any residential places.
Sanders Road's near us.
Yeah, it's miles away.
So how far away are those dwellings there from where it's going to be? I don't know with the street. Is it the same as
on
with planning?
Esplanade Road, it's closer on Esplanade Road. I don't think there is a problem in terms of distance from. I don't remember any.
Oh, there are.
Well, there's those houses there opposite.
Yes, but I don't think there are any regulations. Looking at Duncan, are there any regulations in terms of?
No. I mean, the key, as I say, the three key issues are noise, which if this is run electrically, then that's unlikely to be an issue. I would say that street trading, there is a raft. There's about 17 consultees for this. It's extraordinary. The police are consulted. It just seems like everybody in Cornwall Council gets to have, say, public health, and importantly, several officers within public protection. Obviously, food safety, which is something that Ignacio has explained to you already, is registered as a food business. But yeah, those sort of kind of technical details, such as sort of noise and odours, there are specialised officers that will be responding to the licensing officer about those issues.
Thank you. Yes, Francis, what was it?
Thank you very much for that. I love Spanish food, so it sounds great. My two questions. One is, what are your anticipated opening times and days? I know you said you want to open every day, but what hours and what specific days? And two, as I'm sure you know, we have problems with seagulls and other wildlife. So what is your plan if I was to come and buy a paella and then stand there and eat it and chat with my friends? What do I do with my stuff? Yeah.
Thank you very much for the question. First, my opening times, my intention is to be trading from 12 up to 6, 7, 8, depending of the season and depending of the sellings. Obviously, I will be there earlier to prep everything and to get ready everything, and probably later to clean up and to tidy up everything. And then second, I have a display protected by Perpex to avoid seagulls to be able to eat from my pans, because the paella pans are quite big and they will have a proper buffet. And then all the boxes that I'm going to be using, the takeaway boxes, come lidded and easily taken around. I don't have, my intention is not having like a bar with some seats, it's just the food truck, and obviously it will come with a bag, so you can take it anywhere and enjoy it anyway.
North.
Thanks for telling us what you're trying to do. From the application, you've put June to December, but you just spoke about you wanted to trade for 12 months. So is that after, or because your application says? Okay.
It's a year-round thing from December to December, but we've only got Christmas.
Okay. Okay. Proposed trading days, Monday to Sunday, and you've put 8 till 9 p.m. So my they're not my concerns, but I suppose they are slightly. Esplanade Road is a little bit different. There is a lot of street traders there. They finish sort of 6 o'clock-ish. These are residential homes over here where people will be out in the gardens, and if it's 9 o'clock in the evening that they're trading to, I just wondered, have you done any sort of, presumably you've done something like this somewhere before. This isn't your first venture.
I am 38 years old, and the first time I opened a restaurant in Spain, I was 21, 22-ish. Since then, I'm opened probably more than 15 restaurants in Spain, in England, and in Mexico. I have a very large experience with hospitality, treating with people, helping the situation to calm down if the people is shouting or making noise, and obviously I got common sense to make things be done in the right way around my business.
And then rubbish. How are you going to get rid of the rubbish? Are you going to provide some sort of, because we have got bins down there, but they are what we as taxpayers pay to get emptied, but you're trading, so we would hope that you're going to provide some sort of receptacles for rubbish.
Could I just say the applicant, we've been told that the applicant has provided a waste contract.
Okay, but I feel I'm allowed to ask the question and allow the...
Of course.
Sorry, I'm not being pedantic, but, you know...
No, okay.
So the question has been answered for me. You've totally put me to cop now. I can't remember what my next question was.
I do apologise, Robert. I didn't mean to do that.
So,
quite a lot of detail from the officer already.
and I appreciate that, but it's not here in front of us, and I'm looking at what's in front of us. We didn't get all that information.
The officer emailed the first document.
Okay, so I've just looked at the application, you know. So, going back, you're going to leave it there 24/7. So presumably the electricity is going to be plugged in 24/7 because you will have your freezers. And for me, I just want to know how that's going to be protected.
So
Probably nothing to do with the application, but I'm thinking if you leave it plugged in, somebody pulls it out, you know, through the night, what happens?
well, firstly, the food truck is connected by the bottom of the trailer, so you don't really see a lot of the cable or anything like that. It's just plugged literally underneath the trailer, and it will have obviously a cable straight to the building, to one of the windows.
It's going to be a high level. It's going to be a high level.
There is not gonna be a lot of room between the trailer and the wall that makes the building or the next to the car park spaces, and there are some windows that it will pass through the cable on top.
Sort of concern.
Keep going. Behind the...
Yeah.
No.
I will pass a cable with all the power connected to the bottom of my trailer, and obviously the trailer will go to that above the garage. It will just go down to the gap of the building.
Okay. And my last question is, have you spoken to any of the people in Ennis Road whose garden's back onto where you're going to be trading from? There's about 4 or 5 houses along there. They are family homes, so they would have people out in the back gardens in the evening. I didn't know if you'd spoken to any of them to say what your intentions were. Probably nothing to do with planning, but I'm just asking a question.
I haven't come to talk to them. I don't even have permission yet from you to place the trailer, so I'm not at the moment thinking I will disturb them or something. Once I am trading and I feel that I will start opening from further than 6, something like that, and if I feel that I need to come have a word with them, let them know that if they have any trouble with the noise or whatever, they can bring me and obviously make the level noise goes down. I will.
You're looking at probably between about 15 and 17 metres. And obviously the gardens are set up, and there's quite a lot of
Vegetation,
quite
isn't
a lot,
it?
quite
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of vegetation there as well. So.
The as it's takeaway, that road is meant to be is access, isn't it? It's taxi and bus, and you can loading and things. So would how does that work with people picking up takeaways and things? Would that count as loading going down there?
Don't believe so.
Cars aren't allowed to go down there.
So, but I'm sort of like, it's good to encourage cars going down there. Though, can we, when we vote on this, can we ask that there's a comment from Highways on this?
Highways are one of the raft of consultees that will be reporting back. I mean, I did wonder about the footfall, but then you've got the walk through down into the town. You've got people who might be waiting a long time for the megabus to turn up, and you've got people who'd be coming down from Manor Car Park to town. So there is a little bit of a footfall there.
Yeah, no, I'm not going that. It's people driving, people who are going to go in and going to pull up and park.
Yeah, that's I mean, Highways may have a comment about that. They certainly, I don't think, should be doing that. But that's Highways legislation, not street
us.
trading.
Okay. So, does anyone want to make a proposal that we have no? Oh no. Debate it. No, okay. So, if we can, we'll close public questions and then we will discuss it in terms of. Yes, and we'll propose. And I'll second that. And we're all in favour with moving up the agenda? Yep, brilliant, thank you. So Duncan, over to you. Is there anything extra that we need to look at?
No, I don't think so. I think that you've got the key bits of information in front of you. I mean, obviously, kind of rubbish is one thing, but we have a contract in place. There's public liability insurance in place. Yeah. It would seem to be quite a complete application. I note that the proposed trading times on the application form are a little bit longer than Ignacio had said. It's very much the right side of 11 o'clock, which is when hot food and drink becomes a licensable activity. I wouldn't speak on behalf of the police, but they tend to get concerned about food outlets post 11 o'clock. And I imagine the 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. just gives that little bit of flexibility in terms of the trading day. But other than that, the menu looks quite good. So, but apart from it's making me hungry now. But apart from that, no, I've got nothing to
add. Anyone? Councillor Kenny.
I can't see any reason from our perspective as to why we would raise anything on this, because I think there's so many experts. I do think Councillor North had a point about that electric wire. We have some very destructive people who will be wandering around there, so you need to be really sure that it's plugged in properly and it's not. But that's your problem, not ours.
Yeah, it needs to be properly secured. Otherwise, people are just going to take the trailer. Aren't they?
I was just thinking they will pull the plug out. I was
thinking they'd just take the trailer. Yeah. It needs really securing.
But I actually can't see any reason for us not to approve. I mean, it's a dead part of town. If it produces a bit more trade, that's not a problem as far as we're concerned. It's not going to affect anybody else's trade. I understand the point about the gardens, but there is sort of quite a large bank in between those gardens and this. So
They
it's-
are at the level of that bank. We say there's a bank, but if you go and have a look, the actual garden is almost at that level. It was just a courtesy thing from my perspective.
yeah, I think it's a good idea. I offer them a free tapas and
If
say,
they
"Come
were
back."
sort of,
I think that's a very good idea. But I don't.
just to say this is what we're considering doing. See where the fence is?
Yeah.
Well, the garden level is at, you see that top of that wall? That's the level, no, the wall to,
4 foot up.
you see that there? Go up a little bit higher. That's sort of virtually the level of the garden near the railing there. So, you know, the bank doesn't offer any sort of noise insulation, to be honest. Then valerian will be gone quite soon.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know, I thought just a courtesy. We're considering doing this. What do you think? You know, da-da-da-da-da-da.
I think if it becomes too noisy and out of hand and things, then people will complain, and
Yeah.
you're going to have licensing
Yep.
on your backs as well. So it's your own vested interest not to do that. So I happily propose that we don't make a, what's the word?
Representation.
Thank you. Representation for that. Seconded by Councillor North. All in favour? There we go. Thank you.
Good luck.
And good.
We'll be down to see you.
You're very welcome to stay to for the whole thing, or you can go. I said you're free to stay for the whole of the planning meeting if you like, or you can go. Wonderful.
I think it's interesting for Hege to see how we operate.
Brilliant. Okay. So can Councillor Joanna, do you want to turn your microphone off?
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Right. Okay. So I propose then that we go back to public questions. Seconder for that? Councillor Kent? Yeah, right. All in favour? Yeah. Going back to the agenda. Right, to public questions. Right. Gentleman then wanting to speak about, I don't know which number it is, sorry. Maneus Way.
The third application on your list, I think.
Third application, yeah. I just, what number it,
Yeah, it is number 10.
10 Maneus Way.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Over to you.
Good evening, Chair and Councillors. I've not done this before, so hopefully I'm doing the right thing. We've lived in the property since 2011. We had planning for the rear extension, and the garage on the left-hand side was built in the 1940s, and so was unfit for use. It didn't have any foundations. So after we found some money, we're both teachers, myself and my wife, so we, after finding the money, we then moved on to do the garage change of use, which I'll look at now. It was built in the side garage and store was built in 2023, but the plans went through in 2014. So what we're now looking is a change of use. My daughter's grown up. She's gone to university in Plymouth to be a mental health nurse, and she's been at practices at Bodmin and at Trelisk. And unfortunately, with the price of rental in the areas which she's hoping to live, to commute to those two areas when she finishes in September, we're looking at, obviously we've made a one-bedroom studio apartment with a shower down the side. Okay, and that's what we're really looking at, a change of use to that. That's fine. As you see there, there's room for numerous cars. I've got a son as well, and my wife, so we get 7 cars on there, but obviously we're only looking at, I'd say, about 4 at the moment. And yeah, it's good. It's a nice family home, a nice family area.
Councillor Kenny, would you want to start?
Yeah, I'm reading the planning statement, we're halfway through it. What's it used for now? Because you've already converted it from the garage into it.
My daughter. Yeah, my daughter stays in there when she's back. She's 22, so she comes back, and when she's on, she's been in Bodmin, and she's been working on community work as part of her placement to be a nurse.
Are you asking for any physical change, or are you really just saying what we'd like to do now is rent it out when nobody else is there?
Yeah, change of use, that's all.
To a holiday let? Yeah?
Very short-term holiday let when she's not there.
Has anyone got any other questions?
See the location plan.
Oh, are we going to, okay. Okay. Do you want to?
Show you, it might
It
be
was-
easier if I show you, just show you the.
It was quite confusing, the plans, because they twisted them round the house to the,
It's the end towards Cannock Road. It's about the fourth house down.
So this is, yeah.
third house down.
Fifth house down, sorry.
So is it already a self-contained annex? And so you pay, so you're paying rates on that, council tax on that?
Paying council tax on the property
yeah.
itself,
So
yes.
it is a change of use, or, okay. Okay. Any other questions for?
Are there any other sort of similar commercial, because it is a residential district, are there any other similar, I mean, I'm glad it's down this end, because I think there is some more commercial stuff. There's the hotel down the end of there, is there? Or?
And the hotel's been knocked down, and obviously
Yes.
there's the building on the corner, which I think is 9 flats they're building on the corner there.
But it was definitely a commercial operation and touristy. So
Then-
to me, this end of, well, I'm probably in debate now. This is, I consider this end of Manuis is less residential than the other end, so to speak.
Number 16 is a long-term holiday let as well, which is the one 2 down from the new buildings that are being built, and that's a semi-detached house there, and that's been a holiday let for the last 4 years.
With nobody actually living in the other half, or?
No, it's a semi-detached house, and one side of the house is holiday let, and the other side is a family at number 12, so that'd be number 14.
So it's a pair of semis. I know that you've been asked the question. It's very difficult to see unless you walk down Manuis Way, and I haven't had that time. The car is parked in front, so you can't really see. Can you get a better view? Because looking at the plans, it's already got decking, and it's very hard to see that with the van in the way.
The front, can I just, do you mind me saying something? Sorry, I don't
No,
want to...
you're able to talk. 'Cause
Okay,
we're asking-
sorry.
We're still in public questions at the moment, you're fine.
Sorry, I don't understand
Yeah.
the procedure. So yeah, if you look on the left-hand side there, you can see that it's a very narrow at the front, and that's another problem. We couldn't actually
Yeah.
get to the garage at the front because it was so narrow there. So literally, it's that narrow at the front, then it goes in a kind of V shape out to the back, which is in line with... So if you had a line on the side of the left-hand side of the house, you went back to the back wall, so it goes in that kind of shape. So it's very narrow at the front, and it goes broader at the back.
So, sorry.
Sorry, I'm still asking.
I'm still
I was
asking.
going.
So obviously that's quite an old photo, because according to the plans it's already there with decking. Presumably, I don't know if that's a front door into a storeroom or a side room. And then you've got the bathroom, kitchen, and then a large lounge.
Can you put them?
So
Thank you,
it's
Thompson.
presently been used as an annex in annex terms. So as Councillor Thompson said, is it registered separately for council tax? I know you pay council tax on the property.
No, it's not.
So it's not registered
No.
as an annex. And was the planning permission to do that build?
The planning permission was to do a store and a garage. So that's why I'm doing,
But it's
With
already
respect to
been
planning.
converted to
yes,
living,
yeah.
a one-bedroom apartment.
Inspected.
Well, it doesn't say that in the plans. That's why I'm just asking the question. It's not been done 11 years, has it?
No, it hasn't been done 11 years. The planning was initially in 2014
Yeah.
to have it built, and then we did it in 2023.
So, yes, that's what I'm saying. So it doesn't say in here retrospective, it's just, no. So I was just trying to get my head round. Is it an annex? Is it a holiday let? You've been using it as an annex? And there is a separate entrance to it from the main property? Yeah, okay, so it's sort of separate dwelling. Okay, thank you.
So, yes, Councillor Kenny.
So I'm now confused.
Yes.
You had planning permission in 2014 to do something with it. In 2022, you then converted it into a sort of accommodation.
Yes, yeah,
annex,
knock
but
down
you
the
didn't
garage.
you didn't get planning permission for that.
No.
So
I had planning
you will
permi-
need
I'd-
to get, will you not need to get retrospective
No,
planning
because
application?
what I was told was because I started the planning, because I started the build, because the whole plan was to do the side extension and the rear extension, and that was started in 2014 when the plans went through.
So the original plans were
For an
converting
extension
it,
and a store and a garage, yes.
but a store and a garage,
Yes.
not a separate unit of accommodation,
No.
not an annex.
So it's changed of use into an annex.
But it's not, you're changing it for and/or a holiday let, which are two different things. An annex is very different to a holiday let, because for a holiday let, you could put then that as a business, and effectively, because it's going to be small, not being paying any business rates on it, as opposed to an annex, which you'll be paying council tax on. So we are confused now in terms of you
Okay.
built something which is not what you originally got planning permission for, and saying you want it to be, that you're using it as an annex, and that is different for us giving you, permission for an annex for it than to become a holiday let. It's sort of, sorry, do you want? Yes, I think something's missing somewhere. Duncan?
Do you want me to go through the application now?
Oh, well, I don't know. I was just trying to clarify, really, as to, I mean, we can go through the application. Do you think that will clarify matters?
I think it will.
Okay, if we clarify matters. So, has anybody got any other questions? And we'll see if we can clear this up through Duncan then.
So before we leave, we'll be
Okay.
really clear. Planning permission 2014 for a store and your side extension. 2014 you did that back extension, but you also did this one-bedroomed annex, or you just made it a store. And then 2023, without permissions, you then built this one-bedroomed annex. Yeah, so we're clear with how it got there, but actually it's not what they're asking for planning for tonight. You know, the application isn't, it's already done, what they're asking for planning.
Yeah, okay.
The question I was going to ask is, had you considered moving into this annex for the summer and letting out the house? No? Makes a lot of money that way.
To be honest, yeah, I wouldn't do that, no. I like
Okay.
my house too much, to be honest, and the gardens, as I say, it's not.
Okay, so if we close public questions, oh, sorry, go. Yeah.
Mr. Wells, the planning permission that you got in 2014, does that have the same footprint? It does. That's what I thought when I'd looked at the
Yes,
register.
exactly
I
the
just
same.
want everybody in the room to understand that it's
Yeah.
the same footprint. Effectively, it's what that structure is being used for. I'm happy to present the application if you'd like.
I think, yeah, I mean, a concern that I have, if it was built as a storeroom and a garage, which I presume is, with building regs, would probably have been then a single skin structure, as opposed to, for accommodation now, that wouldn't be with building regs, or if you double, have
Yeah, we
you?
built inside the initial walls,
So,
so it didn't
okay,
affect
so
the
it is a
neighbours
double.
at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's going to be smaller on the inside
Yes.
than it gives the impression of. Okay, right. Right, if we close public questions then, and
Just clarify, is it
okay.
going to be an annex or is it going to be a holiday let? Because as you said, there
Yeah.
are two different things. Because we're going to discuss that, aren't we?
Annex,
But I believe it at different times it will be one or the other. It's not going to just be a holiday let. It's not just going to be an annex. It's when it's not being used by Mr. Wells's daughter, there is a possibility that it would be let out as a holiday let.
So can I... Right.
so if we can, yeah, if I propose then that we go back and we push this up the agenda then and discuss this now? Yes, seconded by Councillor Kenny. She got her arm like a whippet. Yeah, and everyone's in favour of that. Brilliant, thank you. Duncan, over to you. So there wasn't, you know, I don't know who drew the drawings, but they're twisted around the other way from the building on the location plan, which I think it's this one, which is a bit confusing. Okay.
Yeah, so the front of the building, looking at these plans, is the bottom of the drawing, and then with the drive sort of kind of further down the page. Okay, right. So we've had a quick look at the property itself, and we've had a quick look at the location. The background to this is, I'll just share my screen. Hopefully that's doing what it should do. No, okay.
Is this you trying to show people who are watching this?
Yes, indeed. Right. So let's just yeah, let me just try and share screen. There we go. There. Sorry, it's a while since I've done this. Right then. So, as a background, in 2014, this committee raised no objection to the demolition of an existing extension and the formation of a larger single-storey flat roof extension, including the extension of the flat roof garage, and to attach it to the existing property. The planning statement refers to the works being substantially complete. I believe this is actually a retrospective application, although I think that part of the confusion that we've had today is that the description, which Cornwall Council have accepted and said is fine, it omits the word retrospective, which isn't particularly helpful, but we are where we are. So, site location and block plans. Yeah, just so you can see the red line site there, and the main dwelling, the footprint of the main dwelling and the existing garage. The block plan, the the drawing in the centre of the picture there, the hatched area shows the area that will become the self-contained annex and or holiday let. Looking at the plans and elevations, what I didn't have was existing plans, but then if it's already built and in place, then it wouldn't need them. And I must admit, it confused me slightly when I was looking at that. What I did ascertain, let's just have a look at these elevations a little more closely, is this east elevation is the one that's bordering the property. There really aren't any outward-facing windows associated. The one that you can see is part of the main dwelling. There aren't any really outward-facing windows that would create new views to neighbouring properties. There is obviously ample parking in line with the Chief Officer's guidance note on annexes. There are no boundary treatments being put in place because, as we know, an issue with annexes can be they are one step towards creating a separate dwelling, but this wouldn't appear to have those characteristics. It doesn't have any new boundary treatments, separation of the garden, stuff like that. I did note that there isn't any functional link to the main dwelling, but then this door from the living room kitchen area is very close to the main dwelling. I think basically what I'm saying is I think it would be very difficult to turn this into a separate dwelling on its own, and I don't think we need to be too worried about that. Yeah, just to sort of reiterate, caution needs to be exercised to ensure such applications don't result in proposals which are effectively the same as creating a new dwelling. I think a key issue with this, because it doesn't really affect the street scene, a key issue is going to be how Cornwall Council are going to condition it for annex use and for holiday use, but that's not our problem, that's their problem.
Okay. That's fine. Councillor Kenny.
I've seen quite a lot of annexes which, in fact, the definition of an annex tends to be that you can let it out, and then if we don't approve, we take that condition out. I think it's horribly worded, and I think it is. I mean, they're saying it's the use of the existing garage. Well, the garage does not exist, so it is retrospective application to convert a garage into an annex with the holiday let condition. I think that's what it should be saying, and that's not what it's saying. So
I would expect Cornwall Council to have asked for it to be reworded. They haven't done.
Yep.
That's their prerogative.
But that's what's caused us
We
all
just
that
have to
confusion.
live with that.
So if I think about it as a retrospective application to have an annex with the ability to let, I've got no problem with it at all.
No. Anybody else? Any questions? Councillor Morris?
No, I was just going to propose no objection because it's retrospective.
Yeah, if I'm quite happy with that. Can we put in then our usual things for? It'd be great if you could put some solar panelling on the roof, sort of. Yeah, okay, already. So that's.
Duncan, does
and
it
I
need the
suspect
annex?
it's all connected up. I shouldn't be talking to you.
Well?
I suspect it's the same utilities from.
Does it need the annex condition on it?
We could certainly include that in any comment.
Yes, if we could. Yeah. That yes. So I'm happy to second Councillor Morris's proposal. All those in favour? No objection? Yeah. There we go. I know that probably sounded as if there was going to be a pile of issues, but I think we talked it round. So there we go. Yeah. Thank you. Cheers. Right. Okay. Let's close that down. I know, is that...
Insist on a
returning, do we have to vote to go back to the agenda? I think we do, don't we? I'm proposing we go back to the agenda. Seconded by Councillor North. All those in favour? Yep. Marvellous. Right. Any written questions from the...
No, we've not received any written questions.
Wonderful. Active consultations.
Sus, does anybody want a light turning on?
Yeah, we could put a light on, that'd be great. Yeah.
I'll just do that quickly.
No, it's sort of like, sort of like memory lapses. No, you've always done so well. You've been a great role model. Yeah. You're just going to heckle me now, aren't you, John?
The back ones can go on separate, I think, can't they, if you want now, if you want to light.
I'm so rubbish at that.
Oh, no, not that one. That's it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful. Marvellous. Active consultations.
We have no active consultations. We have one that we've responded to recently as the sort of interim group, which was, I'm trying to think, but it was by the school, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, the school, yeah. I drove around there today. Oh, my goodness. To get round to the tip, the recycling centre, sorry.
Yeah, I'm expecting that maybe at the next meeting we'll be able to discuss further, because I think they're coming back to us with that, okay.
Because we've had members of the public come in the full council meeting, and Councillor Towell is going to comment on that. So it is a big concern, that, and the speed around there. So, and the chaos apparently with outside Tretheris and buses and things in the car parking opposite the junction, and expressions of surprise that it's an issue. Anyway, ho. Right, licence out applications. So 901 was Tesco's Superstore, which made me chuckle because we haven't even seen the planning for Tesco's Superstore yet. So this was a complete, it's going to be there moment. And that's what it's going to be and look like. Yeah, so, but they're putting in for their licence in before the planning, but perhaps we don't get planning. Don't we get planning for it?
It's this area here. Well, let me, sorry, I'll share my, let me share my screen once more. Yes, it's that area there.
Is it? Oh,
Yep.
Oh, you're, okay.
Stepney Lane doesn't exist yet.
Because I was
A new build somewhere.
Councillor Morris, can you sort of let
Right,
the chair
so-
speak? It's like, I was trying
well,
to guess where it was.
Sorry,
because
I was guessing a little bit.
Can I just say, Duncan, because looking at all they've given us is a premises plan, not a location plan, and I was presuming the wagon wheel structure in the corner was it's not a roundabout. Up in the corner here is that it's not a roundabout and it's on the corner here, which I don't think is where you said it was, Duncan. Sorry.
Right, okay, so just looking at I did have a look at the Cornwall Council map, and that actually lists it as an address. Tesco Superstore, and it plonks it exactly there. So you've got Stret Galahad. I should also point out that with a licensing application, there is no requirement at all to provide a location plan. Okay, a premises plan, but it's not like planning. They don't have to provide a location plan.
But
if I go back to this one, I've got Stret Galahad along the bottom there, and if I look at,
But isn't so?
if I go back to that,
Can
I've
you
got Stret Galahad along the bottom there, and when I looked at the interactive map, it plonked Tesco Superstore firmly there.
So that's nowhere near. Can you scan? Can you move the image up? Your image at the moment up, Duncan. Can you roll? No, up. Just scan that. Right. Okay. So I presume Stret Galahad went all the way down there, and it was on the corner where you've got your on your arrow in that site there. That's where it's not a roundabout. Is if you turn round, Duncan, I'm pointing at the. If you turn round, it's not a roundabout there, and I presume it's going in here, and I presume that all of Stret is there.
That's their Market Street. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Because that's what that is there in the top corner, yeah.
right. So let's whip that around. So that's sort of north facing. Right. Okay.
So I presume Stret Galahad went or whatever it's called, goes all the way down there from you've got the top end of it to there, because it doesn't make sense being up there. It makes sense it being in that location there. Councillor Kenny.
Is there a problem because we haven't got planning because it's
No.
in the LDO? So effectively, the Cornwall Council, not Cornwall Council, the Duchy, with their LDO actually do the planning for this site.
Okay.
And that's why they're only sending us the booze.
Okay.
I don't know
But,
if that's
yeah,
right.
no, I mean,
Is that what the confusion is? It would be nice to know
And
where
does
it is.
and do we know, does it have a petrol station going with it? I can't make it out on a plan.
Not that I'm aware of.
No, okay.
No, I am assuming that the Duchy are actually in control
Okay.
of the planning here.
Well, I'm surprised we're even getting the licensing bit then,
I
really.
think the LDO doesn't include. I think that may be what it is. I could be completely wrong.
Okay, Duncan, right, okay, so when I looked at this, then they're going for 24/7, 365 for licensing for their premises. So it's going to be a 24-hour store, I presume.
Yeah, no, that's what they have applied for is
And-
Tesco Superstore. I think that there are others in the county that are open 24/7.
Yeah, the Truro one is.
And that's what they're applying here. I think there's one in Camborne certainly. I
Yeah,
don't know about
Truro one is, yeah, as well. Oh, it used to be.
They've got supply of alcohol stock.
Councillor Morris, you just hang on a minute. I've been just flicking through this. I think it's just got the alcohol, but it didn't. Oh, what was I surprised about that they didn't put on the licensing? Oh, sorry. There's no recorded music. I thought, do they have music background in superstores? I don't know.
So background music is incidental. If you're going to an Indian restaurant and they're playing sitar Ravi Shankar in the background, you are going for the food, not the music. So the music is considered incidental, and that would be the same in a supermarket or at a fete or anything like that. So there's no need for that. They'd still have to play PRS, but that's something quite different.
So they've got late night refreshments from 11 o'clock at night till 5 o'clock in the morning. And supply of alcohol 24/7. And even on a Sunday. Now, I thought Sunday licensing was different. In terms of store openings and things, because I mean, you know, Sainsbury's is only open, you know, from 10 till 4, isn't it? And presumably that's when alcohol can be sold too. So I was a bit surprised at the Sunday licensing for alcohol.
It doesn't mean that the store's actually open just because they have a licence. I think that's what they're doing. I think this is a standard Tesco application. And effectively the store, you're right, Sunday opening is limited. So they wouldn't be able to sell alcohol
But this is what they've got on their licensing application. So Duncan, being the licensing guru, it's gone quiet and racking brains.
So the hours that they could open, because I think that you're quite right about the Sunday. I think over a certain floor space, you are limited to Is it 5 hours, 6 hours, something like that? 6. Yeah, 6. I think that you're limited to 6 hours. I don't think it's 10 till 4. I think you're limited to 6 hours, and this does seem like the size of store that would be. If the planning permission or other legislation limits the amount of time that they can open, then that limits the license that they've got. And maybe they've thought, oh, we might open at 10 or we might open at 11, and I suspect that they're just giving themselves that flexibility. It shouldn't really, you know, I think other legislation will limit their Sunday activity, is what I'm trying to say.
Because on the below, it's got hours premises are open to the public. Sunday, it's got 24 hours.
As I say, they might have done that to give themselves that flexibility of, we don't know if we'll open at 10 o'clock till 4 or 11 o'clock till 5. As I say, the planning permission is probably the first thing that will for a retail unit, that would dictate the hours that they can, and there's other legislation as well. I mean, it shouldn't really be an issue for us here. I know it's a bit of a kind of blanket all hours, but that's not how it would effectively work, because there are other bits of legislation that would limit it.
I like a witness, they don't need a license for a Greco-Roman restaurant.
The small Tesco's open different hours on Sunday, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, the co-op's open actually, isn't it? Sunday, isn't it, for longer than that? But that's not a big store.
We've got 4 licensing objectives that we look at with licensing applications.
That's okay. So I'm happy to propose don't make a representation. Seconded. Councillor Carter says secondly on that one. So all agree? Yeah. It was a bit reluctant there, Councillor Morris.
Yeah, again, it's worried about the Sunday trading rules.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
They are something that isn't covered by licensing legislation.
Okay. So next one then is 9.02, the Rum and Sailor at Proud Park. Apparently the application for a warehouse has now become an application for a bar at Proud Park.
Is this a licence or a ban?
It's licence.
Yeah. Okay. Just let me get to you now.
Oh, and cinema screening. If you look at the the application form for family films in a bar in an industrial estate.
Right, sorry, I'll do it just one moment.
It's all right. I'm just wibbling away.
Right then. Okay, so this is a premises licence grant, the Rum Sailor. I had a little bit of a look. I looked at the description of the premises that they give on the application form, and to be honest, we got more of a description of Proud Park than anything else, which is a bit odd.
Doesn't have
But
doors.
this appears to be a relocated premises, so it was formerly being run as the Rum Sailor in Charlestown.
That's a bit of a change.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I had a look on their website, which, says that they've closed down, and it says the Rum Sailor was a bar that for a few years was voted one of the coolest bars in Cornwall.
Well,
and it's
Charleston,
now
it
come
would
to Newquay. So, in terms of their opening hours, they would be looking at opening 8 till 10:30 at night. They've applied for the retail supply of alcohol, which would be from 11 in the morning till 10 at night, allowing 30 minutes drinking up time. The showing of films indoors and out. They say we may introduce cinema film screenings, particularly for families during the school holidays. The screenings may be outdoors or indoors, allowing families to watch films while enjoying food and drink provided by small local businesses.
They haven't got, lower pitch. They haven't got an outdoors apart from the car park.
They've got, if you look at the plan, it says there is an outdoor decking with non-fixed seating on the first floor, and then on the ground floor there is outdoor decking with non-fixed seating, and then there's a lift, a WC and stairs. It was nice that we had a planning officer along this evening, because I had a quick chat to him about this,
okay.
and we agreed that I might mention to you, ask you if you wanted me to follow this up with enforcement tomorrow, because we're not really certain what the use class of the existing building is.
Yeah, well, I thought it was put in as storage. So perhaps it's not the building I thought it was.
To be honest, I've struggled a little bit with the building because looking at it, I think that it's this here, which at the moment, unfortunately, all the plans show. I don't think it's this thing here.
Oh, because I thought it was that, you see, originally, it's not, is it?
I think that it's, as I say, I think it's something in front of that. I think that's the really big building, but I mean that looks even bigger. I am slightly confused by the location, but the location plans aren't key to licensing applications, but I think there's a planning issue to follow up, if you see what I mean.
I think in this instance it is, because, what's the boundaries outside, downstairs, and what are they showing films up against, if it's outdoors? So I think we do need much better plans, and we need, in this instance, we need to know the fire escapes, and because they have that. If you go back to the plan that they gave you before, they've got a WC and the lift there, which suggests that you've got a built structure in this corner here, don't you? And this is outdoors. So is this basically upstairs? And so this is in a structure. And this is just a building within the structure. I don't understand what's going on as to how we.
Reading it, it appears that what they want, is in the first floor of units that are
Yeah.
downstairs.
Yeah. But it's not clear. And it says that it's fully insulated, cladded and adapted shipping containers. So how does the outdoor bit fit with that?
Let's just
I mean,
have a look at...
so, I mean,
to start with, I was just going to point you in the direction of where I think this is. I think that it's
on the car park,
I think that
yeah.
it's on here, or maybe the other side of this fence. I mean, obviously, you've got loads of buildings that have outdoor spaces that are converted shipping containers up there. You know, that's not something new there.
so are we, I mean, it says, so it's got on here then, it's 72.6 square metres in size, situated on the first floor of a food and retail court. So is that already there? The outside area is 30 metres by 6 and has seating for approximately 200 people.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't work out.
And what's round the edge? Sorry, I'm just not happy with this at all. It consists of 16 units, all of which are to be let to small Cornish businesses such as cargo barbers and saltbox seafood, and there'll be a variety of offerings for the public to enjoy.
Could I just say, my question to you would be, how, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but how does that relate to the 4 licensing objectives? Because it really doesn't. Unfortunately, it's another Prow Park planning issue. Yes. And this is why I had the conversation with Javier earlier, because I thought this, and to be honest, the planning officer was just exasperated.
Yeah. So I do have I have a safety issue because we do not know on the first floor, in terms of that they want to license, what is the boundary going around the outside. I mean, if it's just stacked up 2 layers of containers, then people just plop off the side. We don't know. So I do have a safety issue on that. And with 200 people and with car parking then as well, in terms of 200 people rocking up there, and as to whether, yes, has it got planning permission for this as well, as I thought it was going to be storage.
That's not an issue for this application, though.
But I
know it's frustrating, but it isn't an issue for a licensing application.
Repeat the 4 licensing things again, please, Duncan.
Public safety, noise and nuisance, crime and disorder, protection of children from harm.
Councillor Kenny.
They do say that there is employers' public liability insurance in place, health and safety policies and risk assessments will be reviewed and updated annually. That's a condition that would appear on the licence. So that's your kind of protection. They don't have to say we've got a balustrade this high to stop people just toppling off, but they have got wording in the condition that would, and I mean they're not going to create a death trap up there.
I mean,
that's a business that's not going to last very long.
But having 1 toilet for 200 people plus employees plus all the units, I find might be a bit inadequate. Councillor Kenny.
The problem is we don't know which building it is.
Yeah.
So how can we possibly approve a licensing application when we don't know what building it is?
Yes.
So can we make we wouldn't be actually saying for licensing application. We just have to say, we are uncertain, because we don't know which building it is. Does the building exist? I mean, the last picture I got is 2032, and it looks to be, it's not in that big white building.
Yeah, which is it? And I think all those units have they've been passed, haven't they, for accommodation, so I think there is a noise issue.
You just reminded me of something. The accommodation that was passed, wasn't that for key workers?
Yes.
Oh, and national health.
bear with, because in condition 2, when they're talking about the management. In addition to the licensee lives on site, residing just 50 yards away, so is able to ensure all licensing objectives are met at all time. Is he a nurse?
No. He's in breach of the housing too. Yeah.
At the moment.
Can we throw this one back to say?
Yeah, I've got questions at the moment.
Yeah.
Which are, we don't know where we don't know anything about where the film is going to go.
Yeah.
We've got, as you said, 200 plus people and one toilet.
Yeah.
We don't really understand which building.
Yeah.
Which building it is. Is there anything else that we can cram into this? Because we'll only get the one go.
Is the licensee health worker residing 50 yards from the site?
I think that's probably a question for Javier. Okay.
Yeah.
I can ask the question, but
and also the parking facilities. That car park they've got is being very overworked for everything, and for the potential for 200 people. Yeah.
Parking isn't
And
But I would just throw this back and say we will make a representation because we cannot understand any of the 4 planning objectives. We don't know what building you're
can you put the plan back up, please? Because all it had then was potentially a lift. Where's the staircase?
Lift, WC and stairs, all in that block there.
So I'd like to actually see the staircase, and is it wide enough to take 200 people if there's a fire that breaks out on the roof? No, we don't have enough information.
Saying that the plans really aren't useful. I mean, there is marking a fire exit there,
but that's for downstairs, I presume. Stairs?
No, because it seems to walk out onto the first floor, so I'm guessing not.
So are the stairs on the outside going down as well?
Well, we don't know. So are the stairs and the lift an outdoor thing? Is that a separate little building? This is why, and sort of I started off with saying, we don't know what we're licensing.
And therefore we cannot certain that the licensing objectives are fulfilled.
Yeah. And where's the screen wall? And the seating.
Seating not. It says that there's seating on the 2 areas, but it says that it's not fixed. So they only have to show fixed on these plans.
And so there's a small bar area there. There's fridges separate to it. How do people get into the bar area, and how's it secured?
Do we have to say anything more?
I'm just saying, if Duncan's saying we've got one go at this, and I
think
don't want
the fire
plans
exit is also the only exit, the only entrance and exit to it.
But so, but just, I mean, you know, how's this secured for alcohol?
What do you mean?
Well, it's a bar, isn't it? So don't they normally have? I mean, they don't even show how you get in and out of the bar area. So the plan's woefully inadequate on all sorts of levels. Yeah.
Well, I've got a few things to go back to them with. I mean, to be honest, if I was still a licensing officer, I would have, if this had come in, I would have said, you need to improve your plans. And the description tells us all about Prow Park. It doesn't actually say if these guys are selling food, if they're just a bar. It really just doesn't tell you.
Not enough information generally.
And it does say on that AG 911 application form redacted.
They always do, though.
Yeah.
What's the?
That mean? I thought.
It means that they've taken out
No,
personal
general
information in relation to GDPR.
So it's got they'd like to show events such as like live comedians and things as well, but they haven't applied for music. We'd also like to host local markets such as farmers markets, arts and craft markets. So what are we? Sorry, what are we licensing here? Are we not
I mean,
licensing?
those aren't licensable activities.
Didn't know.
I mean, this is a bit of a mash-up, really.
It
It's
is.
in conflict with it being, and it's the same argument about the accommodation. It's an engineering site. So if you start
Yeah.
allowing this, that's of course a planning issue. If you start allowing this sort of thing, they inhibit the use of the industrial units.
Yes.
But that's a
Because
planning issue.
it's got live events using amplification PA system and screens for ticketed events, including comedians, talks and presentations from renowned experts stroke people. I'd like to know, well, I suppose it could be artificial intelligence, couldn't it? Such as surfers, Cornish historians, chefs, etc. Some events will be indoors only, and some will include the outside area, depending on the event, for example, a farmer's market. So they won't market a space as well up on there.
Safety. If they're trying to put it out on the open area, which is the car park, then that's...
So we don't know if this is upstairs, do we?
I did actually mention public safety a few minutes ago, but
Yeah. So it's just inadequate.
I've got a decent list of stuff here.
So I'm proposing that we make a representation for this. I think Councillor Morris has put his hand up, I presume, to second.
second.
All in favour? Blimey, after that, would we like a comfort break? Yes. Can we vote for a quick comfort break? Councillor North is seconded. So 5 minutes for a quick stop. Jacob. Welcome back, everybody. We had our quick comfort break, and don't count the biscuits. Right, we've covered. Oh, I go up and down on the next one. We covered the next one. La Peppers we've done. So item number 10. The interim election thing. So I think we just need to vote. We need to ratify those, don't we?
Yeah, I am going to bring them up on the screen.
Okay.
Just to show how busy we were. If I can, because we did all sorts of stuff. We did 5-day protocols, non-material amendments. We responded to a planning appeal. We did planning applications. Yes, Paradise Cove, if you remember.
Oh, yes.
We kind of did that as the... we've done advertisement consents. We've done street trader applications. That street trader, by the way, that's going to committee, and we'll talk about that later in the meeting. Yeah. Oh, and that yellow one down the bottom, you did come back and you said that you were happy and that there were no, I should have updated that, and that there were no further comments required.
Yeah.
So that's a green one, and the decision is no further comments required. So we kept ourselves busy while there were no committees working.
Yeah. So...
We need to ratify these to say that we followed our process.
So... Councillor Morris, are you proposing? I'll second that then. All agreement with that? Yay! Awesome. Well done. Gold stars. Right. Item 11 then. So applications. So this time, because there weren't as many, Duncan was going to do them all. Go you, Duncan. Application 1, PA 25/02653, The Grey House, 83 to 87 Mount Wise, retrospective application for change of use from hotel to a mixed use with sui generis HMO. Duncan.
Right, this one is a retrospective application. It's, I sort of asked myself, so yeah, it's just up from the junction with Clevedon Road, and got quite a nice, reasonably up to date from June 2023, a reasonably up to date image of it. I sort of asked myself with this one, what do we actually know about this? Because it is a retrospective application. So we know that the property already benefits from an HMO licence with Cornwall Council. We usually see this in planning applications prior to the HMO licence being issued. The site had previously operated as a hostel. It was the Moor Surf Lodge, and before that was the Trevone Hotel. In 2022, prior notification advice was given that planning permission would be needed for it to be turned from a hostel into a HMO. We're now in 2025 and they're asking for that permission. So they've been operating since at least last April as an HMO, and I think it goes back before that, because this image is from June 2023. So they were told that they needed planning permission and they didn't get it. They just went and got an HMO licence.
And I think if you remember, this came to planning, and what they were asking for was that the units could be for people, professional people who couldn't find suitable accommodation in Newquay, and they would all be people in employment. That's what I can remember when it came to us the first time.
Is this the one that was to do with
It was called Moore at the time, wasn't it?
Monique Collins?
Yes.
No, Monique Collins wasn't involved. Monique Collins wasn't involved. Is the planning application came here and they asked us, I don't know, I was on planning, so it's in the last 4 or 5 years, but it was to create units for people who were in employment that couldn't afford to rent, a flat or an apartment in Newquay. That's,
I wonder if that was withdrawn then, because it's not on the planning register.
And then immediately became HMO.
Right. Just as a refresher, neighbourhood plan does have a houses and multiple occupation policy. The neighbourhood plan seeks to manage the density of HMOs across the town in favour of maintaining a sustainable, inclusive and mixed-use community. Neighbourhood Plan Policy H3 states that all things being equal, proposals for any new HMO will be supported where the proportion of buildings used in full or part as an HMO within 100 metres does not exceed 5%. And so...
Can I just ask, Duncan, when you're doing it, is that 5% of what?
Joanna will answer that question.
It depends. It's basically 5% of the buildings on either side.
So it's buildings, not occupancy.
If you have a block of flats,
That's one building.
it doesn't count as... It's the one policy, I think, that hasn't worked, and although it's very popular with them.
Yeah, the wording was, from day one, the wording was difficult.
From, I think, Falmouth, and then Falmouth can do it. It's proved quite well. And I think the whole attitude to HMOs has changed, certainly over the last few months. And I also think that the regulation of these buildings that are Airbnb, I mean, I'd rather have a organisation like
Then, yeah.
an Airbnb that you've got no control over.
Yeah. Right, Duncan.
Anyway,
sorry.
I did you a nice little map showing the radius, and you've actually got you've got none within that radius, so it doesn't breach that policy. The other one, another key one that we ask for is the parking, which needs to, if memory serves me correctly, needs to be a minimum of in terms of numbers, a minimum of 50% of the number of rooms. And then we do also ask for a management plan. In terms of parking, if we go back to the street scene, I think I counted 8 or 9 parking spaces there when I wandered up the other day, and it's got, well, it's questionable how many rooms it's got, because I think it's 27. They're certainly not going to have 13 or 14 parking places, so it doesn't make it on those grounds. However, it has been functioning for at least 18 months or so, maybe longer, as an HMO, without us being aware of any complaints about it.
Sorry. Councillor Morris.
Obviously, you all know I stood in that division. There was one day that I actually went along there and counted 12 cars parked outside.
No. And they weren't blocking the pavement then? And they weren't blocking the pavement? No, that's fine.
They do have to block each other in, unfortunately. But we didn't have a management plan accompanying this. There's a comment on the comments list. Now it appears to be a public comment, but it's not. If you have a look, you'll see it's actually from somebody from Cornwall Council's. What team does it say on there? Yeah, so
it's worth reading.
Yeah, so they've got an issue with the number of dwellings, because they're talking about it being licensed for 27 and they've got 28.
32.
Well, yeah, and then on the register they've got 32. So there's a bit of a question about. Yeah. But I don't think that there's 32 rooms on the plans. I think that there's 28 rooms, and the guy is saying, well, you've only got a licence of 27.
Is the fact that this got passed through without them actually thinking of the implications, and now they'd very much like us to do something to solve the problems. So they're talking about these additional kitchen facilities. I mean, is there a requirement are they sharing kitchen facilities? Because there's probably not enough for 27, 28 or 32, however many there are.
So that could be where some of the rooms are going in terms of their becoming bedrooms. So, it says that we're supporting that paper. We simply request that in the following information is attached to any consent granted. So they're wanting us to put that statement at the bottom.
Yeah.
Or is this for them?
what is an informative, it means that that
Yeah.
would be at the bottom of the any planning permission that went out. But they should have asked for it at the time. That's the problem. I mean, we haven't had any complaints about this one. We've got we're shortage of housing.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is the management plan. I've got a problem if we haven't got the management plan. So I would not approve it without, or we would be subject to the provision of a suitable management plan. Plus, we note the concerns about the accommodation standards for mandatory licensable housing. What he's basically saying is they do not meet the standards.
Yeah, they don't meet the...
But it's nothing to do with us. I mean, they should have spotted that, not us.
Because I presume it should have fire sprinklers in. I think that's a legal requirement now, isn't it, for HMOs?
No, it isn't. We tried. We couldn't get it. So it is in Wales, I think.
Oh, I thought it was in this country too.
But I mean, what they're saying here is they've been given a licence when it doesn't match. It doesn't actually match the mandatory licensing standards.
So
that really isn't our problem. But that's why they want us to say so. But we don't have a management plan, and I would be prepared to object until we get a management plan. But I think other than that, I mean, the parking, it's very.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have an issue in principle, and quite welcome HMO accommodation really, because we're so desperate in need of it in Newquay for our workforce.
But is it a planning concern if they don't meet standards, or are they licensed standards, which in case is none of our business?
We have, I think that H3, find it quickly, I think that makes reference to proposals include details of fire safety measures, including fire sprinklers to meet the requirements of core fire safety. So that's in our policy. If an application came in and it didn't detail fire safety measures, we would object to that. There were a lot of documents accompanying this, but I don't think any of the documents accompanying them this had anything about fire safety, and it didn't have anything about management, a management plan either. So those are planning issues because they're covered by our planning policies.
Yeah.
And the sort died. I mean, have we got anything that we can say on sort of like recycling and bins and all that sort of thing as well?
We have we asked for sufficient waste storage and amenity space. I don't think we've been given that information. So effectively, I think in principle we don't have a problem with this being an HMO.
But we need more info.
It just hasn't met the planning conditions of H3.
And also, they're talking about room 28. I'm assuming they mean flat 28 because it's really clear here. My only concern is it seeks to include room 28 on the second floor at the front, which it says flat 28 on the plan. The applicant has already been advised this would not be acceptable under terms of the HMO licence, and the room has already been included as a habitable unit of accommodation under the licence. I do not think this warrants an objection. I would suggest the planning application would be amended to avoid any future potential conflict with being planning consent in the HMO licence. So clearly I think that room is either too small, because it's 8.65 metres squared.
So, we need clarity on then in terms of, are these spaces of a suitable enough, quality for a habitable space as HMOs? Does that come into it, Duncan?
Yeah, I've got a few things to go back with. It's a bit of a muddle, but I've got a few things that you could base your decision on. If you
I'm proposing that we do object because they wanted to dig us out of the hole. And in principle we support it, but there is just too much missing, too much conflict with policy H3. It's proposing we're not worried about parking. B2, no evidence for B2 or B5. Is that right? No, that's not right, by B6. So it's, and the management plan, it's just not there. We only say they are encouraged to provide a management plan. We don't say it is actually a requirement for them to provide a management plan.
Can I just ask, Duncan, is there a lift at all in the building? I didn't look at the plans in terms of, is it all steps all the way up to get into it?
It looks like it's steps all the way.
Can I query into...
Go, sorry.
Joanna, can you turn your microphone on? Right, okay.
Oh. Right, sorry, this is gone. I don't know why that's happened.
I've had feedback before. Is it your microphone on your laptops or laptops?
Jacob.
I don't know. The speakers on. Your speakers on. And your mic's on. Is it sounding still? Oh, God's sake. Where's that coming from?
Right, I'm going to leave the meeting and rejoin it.
Try it, yeah. Okay. Good.
It's that one.
That was off then. Yeah, and then it came back on. That one. Cool, okay. Now try again. Okay, so that's off. Yeah, that's fine. That's off, yeah.
That's off.
Yep, good.
Is that still echoing? No, it's not. No, it stopped.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
You were good? Yep.
I don't quite know what happened there.
That's okay.
Everything said it was off, and it quite
all came
clearly
on.
wasn't. Anyway, we're back in the room.
Okay, back to this, everyone. Hello. Councillor Kenny, you're being naughty. Yeah, that's okay. The rabble. Yeah, we have now. Yes. Right. Okay. So can I show concern in terms of equality, please, that they haven't got an external lift going up to those steps and that it's a discriminatory establishment, please. That when they've adapted it, they should have an external lift up there, so at least people could be able to use the downstairs accommodation, which they can't do at the moment. Yes.
Just to let you know, I know of 2 disabled people that actually used to live in that house, and they weren't on the bottom floor either.
Okay.
I think it is unfortunate. I don't think it's something we can object to.
Well, I think these days, in terms of, equality of access and things, if they're converting it to basically a new building, they have to take into account equality of access. So I'm just putting it out there, Duncan, as to...
Well, I've got a mash of stuff, and we can, we can...
Okay, so, Joanna, are you proposing...
I'm proposing that although we in principle we are in favour of, we don't have a problem with that, we believe that that we're going to object on the basis that they haven't provided the reassurance that we need.
On a few things. We do have a seconder for that. Councillor Carter here was seconding on that then, and all those on that, apart from Councillor Morris, who's abstaining. Right. Wonderful. Thank you. I'm keeping an eye on the clock because we'll have to put in for an extension. Application 2 then, PA 25/03701, former Edgecombe Hotel on Narrowcliffe, subdivision of apartment 1 into 2 apartments consisting 1 number 1 bedroom and 1 number 2 bedroom apartments.
This is next door to the Bristol, isn't it?
No, no, it's the former, no, it's the new one, you know, that's all red, that's next,
The red one, as to how...
yeah, next to Tesco's, next door to Tesco's.
The Tesco's and the...
Oh, what did it used to be?
Kilburney.
The Kilburney,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
the old Edgecombe Hotel.
No, it's the old Edgecombe Hotel that they're building at the moment. Opposite
So
the bus
what
shelter.
they're asking us to change plans they haven't built yet.
No, they're building it at the moment.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, no, so they've got permission. So this is your
That's the old
location
Kilburney.
just next to Tesco Express, in between Tesco Express and the Kilburney. I think you can see it's in partial state of demolition there anyway. And if we come down to the street view, oh, that's it as the Edgecombe Hotel, and that's it as a development site.
Well, it's well on the way now.
This
isn't
is a lovely, straightforward application. I so wish that they were all like this. What was I going to show you? So, right, so there are no... no, it's the design and access statement shows us that. There we go. There are no changes to the exterior of the building. We just need to come down to this page here. So the approved layout is the one that's above. So you can see that is called apartment number 1. It has a couple of bedrooms, bathroom, ensuite, and a living area. And what they're looking to do is divide it into 2. So you've got one smaller one, kitchen, living area, bedroom, storage space, bathroom, and then you've got a slightly larger 2-bedroom.
So they're cutting that
large enough?
huge living area that they had.
Yeah, effectively. The only issue that I could see was that there are 63 parking spaces. We fought quite hard for parking on this one. And there were 63 parking spaces in the end. Technically, this would actually mean that they need to provide another one, but I don't think they would be able to do that. And we certainly did beat them into when they got the permission. We beat them into providing a decent amount of parking at the time. But that's the only thing that I could see that was an issue with that.
Is that living space? Is the living space big enough?
I haven't seen a...
Does it give any dimensions to it?
I haven't seen the dimensions, so we might want to ask if it sort of subject to meeting
that it's adequate.
The nationally described minimum space standards.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And can we just go down to the lighting there? Has it just got the one window then at the front? The one window. Oh, right, so the 2 windows, so it's split.
Yeah, so it's got a couple of windows in there. I mean, there might be glass doors, I don't know.
Or internal corridor, probably not. Okay, does anyone have any questions, issue, Councillor?
It now breaks policy H4, that was Duncan says.
Only...
But how it's going in terms of sustainability, and we're overridden by Cornwall Council as well, isn't it? That actually it's one parking space, isn't it? So
we got 63, didn't we?
Yeah. I don't think that's going to vary. I don't. We can't.
In the age of our neighbourhood plan.
Yeah. It's just being thrown back at us.
Not really going to carry any weight, unfortunately.
Yeah. Councillor Williamson.
Can I just ask? This is just on the 1 floor, right?
One floor of the flats. Yeah. Anything else? No? Anyone going to make any proposals? Yep.
I suppose we support. I don't think it's a minimal change, really.
Yeah.
One extra.
What
they say about the car, what they say about car park, the original development provided 63 parking spaces, 33 of which will be provided with EV charging. This parking provision will serve 9 one-bedroom apartments and 24 two-bedroom apartments, blah, 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 blah. Sufficient parking for almost 2 per dwelling. That's it. He's good.
Yeah.
We do. Because actually,
compared to other things. And at least it's being built and nearly finished.
Yeah.
Councillor Morris.
I'd rather have a no objection, subject to.
We got a proposal for
Seconder for supporting subject to.
Councillor North. Can we have a vote on then for support? I support on that. And you're objecting then, Councillor Morris?
I'm not going to support, but I'd have no objection, subject to.
Yeah, no, so that's a majority decision.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful.
Done number 3.
Done number 3. What? Application 4, PA 25/03805.
Before we start this,
Oh.
shall we do an extension?
Yes, we could do now, couldn't we? I propose extending.
Might as well say 9 o'clock.
Till 9 o'clock. Hopefully we'll finish by then. Seconder, Councillor North. All in favour? Yep. Awesome. 2 Cardell Way, extension of raised front entrance to create balcony. Duncan.
Right, here we go.
Cardell Way.
Cardell Way.
Can we just be reminded as to where Cardell Way is?
Sorry.
Off the Dukes.
I'll keep getting.
We know where it is. It's a hill, isn't it?
Yes. It's off the Dukes.
Sorry,
It's like we could do it. So we could do a Christmas Newquay Town Council planning quiz, couldn't we? You could put images up, and we could guess where it is.
It's in our wall, we can know where it is.
We could do it. We could open it up to the public, and we could do it as a fundraiser.
So here we go then. It's on the corner of Dukes Way and
Joanna,
Cardell
could you turn
Way.
your microphone off, please? Thank you.
It's on the corner of Dukes Way and Cardell Way. Cardell Way runs between Dukes and Tyrrice, and we have.
Oh, the cut
and it's
road,
right
isn't it?
on. It's right on the corner as well.
Yeah.
So. Oh, God.
That's not it.
Sorry.
We've looked
sorry,
at that
my
one.
brain has. My
Yeah,
brain
yeah.
has actually stopped. My brain has actually stopped working. I do apologise.
Yeah.
So this is the property in question. Okay.
I'm sure they wouldn't have barked.
If we look at an older image, if it'll let me, we see what you've got. Because of the topography, you've got, as we're looking at it there, the right-hand side of the house is just on the one floor, and the left-hand side, where you've got that brickwork, there's both a first floor and a ground floor, or a lower ground floor, if you like.
Split house.
So it's kind of, yeah, so it's sort of, you've got just one floor here, but here it goes further down because of the topography, if that makes sense. Hopefully it will do in a minute. So we'll look at what have we got? The existing site plan and the proposed site plan. We'll just have a quick comparison of those. Right, so that's the let's make that slightly bigger. So that's the existing site plan. This is the side of the building that we were just looking at, and you've got steps up to the front door.
Yeah.
What they are proposing is that rather than coming out onto these steps from the front door, you're actually going to come out onto a new balcony. And you'll see that the existing plan shows there's already a balcony on the other side. I think, again, it's taking advantage of that topography. And there is a balcony already, and they want to put one here. So effectively, well, it's going to bridge the gap between the garden and the building itself. Okay.
So it's facing onto Cardell Way.
Facing onto Cardell Way.
So it'd be getting rid of those 3 bushes, I think, in front, wouldn't it?
No.
Oh. Because it's already got a balcony there, then, isn't it?
I'll show you why. I think the floor plans might be the best thing to look at here. In fact, we probably don't really need the existing. It just helps us to understand the topography. So you see the ground floor you've only got that half of the building at ground floor, and at first floor you've got the full footprint of the building, yeah? The proposed, I just want to shift that out of the way, go down there. The proposed, if we just look at them in a bit more detail, the ground floor, what you can see there is just the outline of the balcony, if you like, almost like the shadow of the balcony. On the right-hand side, we've got the balcony at first floor level. They're going to keep the steps, but you have got steps that come in sort of not via the garden but off Cardale Way, these ones here. So that's going to be how you access the balcony and the front door if you're coming off the road, up those couple of steps. And you can see here, right at the bottom, they're actually doing a cutout in the decking that will form the balcony to around the nearest tree, so that they can actually keep the tree. So they're going to build their decking around the tree. There will be a glass balustrade. Hopefully, presumably that will have to accommodate the sort of stop and start again to accommodate the tree. They're going to create. It says that they're going to create some storage underneath. It mentioned it says that the storage will be accessed by a built-in hatch door. So I don't know if they're actually going to have like a hatch in the decking that they'd be able to reach down and get stuff.
Put naughty children.
But that's basically the application. It's
It's just about taking.
it really, it's and depending on where you're standing, if you're standing in the front garden, it might look like a balcony, and if you're standing on Cardale Way, it's just going to look like decking in front of the house. So it's it would seem quite straightforward. It's not creating. It's not going to create new. It's not going to create new views, I don't believe, because you've already got views across the road anyway.
No, anybody got any issues? No. I propose then that we support this. Seconder? Yeah, Councillor Carter is seconding. All in favour? Yep. Awesome, thank you. One for application of 5 PA 25/03736. Former Ravensbury Hotel, 61 Pentower Avenue. Change of use of 61 Pentower Avenue from existing use of a hotel. Sorry? Oh, okay. Is it by you? Okay. If you could pull faces. I've got a borough here, if you want to.
Yeah, there might also be another thing that I just realised that I supported all the ones that you did as a.
It was the process.
It was the process. That was them. You were not them. Yeah. All right.
Right then, 61. Oh, sorry, I'll just take that. 2001 FW left. Right. Right, 61 Pentower Avenue. If we come down to the street view.
Yeah, I was saying so. Hotel to self-contained apartments with parking. No. Yeah, well, it says without compliance with condition 2.
Yeah, so back in 2023, this committee actually objected to the change of use and subdivision into apartments. Your key concerns were level access and concerns that the apartments were described as, you might remember this, they were described as one bedroom, but they had the attributes of being two bedroom because they both had like a study, and we were concerned about that. And one of the key concerns about that was that it would have, if they were two bedroom rather than one, it would have doubled the amount of parking that they needed to provide. With revised plans, you agreed to disagree with the recommendation to approve, and it was passed. So, if we look at the location and block plan first. Sorry, I'll just get rid of these ones. Oh, that's yeah. Sorry, that's just from the 2023 applications. Strangely, for these applications, they don't have to provide a location or block plan, but there it is, just for your enjoyment. So the current application wishes to, when it says without compliance of condition 2, that means in this instance that they want to deviate from the approved plans. The supporting statement tells us the updated design includes some minor revisions that make better use of the internal spaces and openings to work better with the internal circulation and room layout. So, I thought that the floor plans were the easiest way to communicate what they want to do here. No, I am going to make it. I am going to make it as simple as I possibly can, partly by flipping it over. Right. So this. Oh, that needs to be slightly bigger, doesn't it? There we go. So this one at the top is the ground floor. There weren't really any massive changes at ground floor level. This is the proposal. You'll see they're very similar. All that they've actually done is filled in a couple of windows and created a couple of shelters over the door entrances. The more interesting changes are at second floor level. So that's the approval, and you'll see that there's this huge terrace that you've got to sit on. This being the rear of the building.
Their outdoor space, wouldn't it?
This is flat. What is it? Flat three.
So
What they've done is that they've made the they've extended into that infill, this space here. They've given the flat a bigger footprint, and they've taken a bit away from the terrace.
So how many bedrooms does that make that now for that flat?
It doesn't change because it's labelled as the study.
Oh, what a surprise!
And they've done some internal alterations, and so it becomes a bit more open plan. But it's still got a bedroom and a study, and a living room and a dining room, which is what it had before. It's just that the hallway stroke study is now a much larger space.
Yeah, you can put it
So it's another bedroom, isn't it?
Well, it's open plan, so it hasn't. You would be sleeping a bit in public because there is no door to it. No, you're getting very cynical in your old age, if you don't mind me saying. What that does at the first floor level, is that first? No, sorry, second floor level, is that it creates a flat roof space, and so you then get another terrace put on top of that. So that's the change that they've applied for. They're basically going back to the beginning, going back to the first floor. They're filling in that infill. Sorry, let's get the right drawings up.
So would
this bit here becomes infill, creates a room, takes a bit off that terrace, but enables a greater outdoor space to the flat above it.
So what outdoor space did the flat above, has it got?
It had that terrace there, which is quite small. I mean, there's
Sorry, Duncan. So that terrace there, so that had a solid wall, so it didn't overlook the space underneath it. So flip down to the new extension for that floor.
I don't, sorry,
So that's
you've lost me slightly.
So where's the new bit? Did you say it's going to be extended upstairs?
That's not the right floor.
No, that's the second.
So that
That-
was effectively.
That's going to be filled in,
Yeah.
and then
Upstairs we'll have a terrace there.
yeah. Yeah. So where's the plan for that then? Oh, it would cover the whole lot. Oh, I see. I thought it was going to be a part. Okay. I thought there was another level on top of that. No, right, okay.
Right. So there's an existing terrace at first floor level, which is going to be reduced slightly by the creation of this, because the terrace was effectively L-shaped.
Right,
L
yes, I
shape.
see where, okay.
So they lose part of that because they build on top of it.
Yeah.
And then that allows a flat roof
So-
outside the bedroom window of flat 4, and they're going to make that into a terrace.
So what's the barrier that they're going to be putting on? Oh.
All at the back.
So it's not going to affect the view?
Not going to shouldn't affect the view, and I couldn't see any new views that were going to be created
Okay,
as a result
okay.
of this.
That's fine.
Is there a lane behind?
There is a lane.
Yeah.
Then it goes down to the other side. I know it is, that's why I know it very well. I was just checking what's behind.
There.
There's
It's a massive sort of entry, isn't it?
Then you've got the much lower houses in the riverside alley.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's all,
Oh, sorry.
It's the next one down. Next one down. No, come back a bit.
yeah, isn't it that one? No?
No, come back. No, come back again. It's that one.
Ah, right, I did, thank you.
Hmm.
It's not pretty back there.
Just they don't want to give any more parking.
This is a very old picture. This is 2014,
Yeah.
so don't take too much from this image. It's
So, so that balcony, the new one is going to be over here, isn't it? It's on this side, I think. Where it's like I wave this on because Duncan's looking at the screen. It's on this bit here, isn't it, Duncan? I think the extension.
See where the dormer is, that roof must be changed and it'll come out from there.
Yeah.
This one, it's on this side.
No, up
On the
again.
second floor.
Up again.
That one. So it's next door to balconies from next door.
Yeah.
How? We
reassurance. That
yes,
there's
we
gonna
want
be
some
no
reassurance. Yes,
loss of
privacy from next door. And if there's going to be a wall going up there, they're going to be losing light as well. So can we have, because it's effectively going to be boxing this little bit in, isn't it, from next door? Like it's got
Okay.
a wall on that.
Yeah, I've got that noted.
So, no objection pending that there's no overlooking and issues with its next door neighbour.
I don't think it
that
would be
all right?
loss of light. I think it would be privacy, but we can say both.
Can I say that? Because I mean, it's well,
Yes, of
stroke
course.
outlook too as well, actually. Okay, seconded by Councillor Morris. Are we all in?
Yeah,
Favour of
happy
that?
with
We're
that.
all in with that. Is that okay, Duncan? On that? Brilliant. Thank you. We need to get Francis back in.
Hello. Be a 72-story skyscraper.
Don't trip over there. Yeah, 8 stories.
Excellent.
With a spire. And flags on top.
Oh, I love a flag.
With a speaker.
Yeah, yeah. Balconies.
Yeah. And a cinema. From the balcony, yeah. Okay, 12, terms of reference risk assessment update. Do we have any of those?
No, we do not.
Wonderful, I think. Reports and any associated recommendation from working parties. Now I was going to say about this, is this the point when we talk about the Newquay Neighbourhood Plan Working Party?
We could do.
In terms
Are
of...
you going to need to create new working parties?
Well, it's like timing,
yes.
yeah, resurrecting. I don't know when we do that then.
Local plan is talking about being ready in 28, and I think they'll be really lucky to get it in the life of the council, which is up to May 29. I mean, things tend to slip. We don't want to have our neighbourhood plan adopted until, well, at the moment we don't want it adopted until until they've adopted the Cornwall local plan. The reason being that what happens, as we've discovered, is that generalisations in the local plan will override any specific local plans we've got. I mean, that's what happened to us. So they've got this stupid thing with the allocations, and they ignored where we were trying to protect the cliffs, because they said, oh, well, no, the one that says you can build anywhere you like is got adopted afterwards. So but we probably need to work in parallel. I don't think there's anything immediate, but we need to think in terms of, because the plan I think is pretty good. The only one I think is dubious is the houses of multiple occupation, because the whole thing is, the whole. But we don't even know how many houses are going to come Newquay's way. I suspect thousands more. I mean, that would be my guess. I mean, we've already overshot our target by 2,000, and I think they're not going to say, well done, Newquay, you don't have to buy any more, build any more. I think they will just give us more and more to build, and we can look at that whole area. And it's Newquay and locality. Our plan only covers Newquay, but it's the target for build is Newquay and locality, which is basically Quintal Downs. So we probably, but I don't think we've got enough yet.
So we couldn't alter ours and reissue it quickly. So at least we've got 2 years of us being the most up-to-date document, potentially.
But then you have the argument about, and we got that in one of the application that I have called in, whereas the planning officer said, because your plan is over 5 years old.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. If we do update it,
we'd be mad to try and do it
before they do it. We could probably get ours done more quickly, and it would probably say if we did it in a year and we quickly updated it, reissued it, we'd be the most up-to-date document.
We
Is that right?
couldn't update it in a year. It doesn't. It takes. If Margaret will remember, it takes a good. You've got so many consultations and inspections. It took us a year and a half. It took once we got our plan agreed and issued. It took a year and a half before we got to referendum. So you can't actually do it. You can't.
So the updating process isn't, because I got that, doing it from scratch, but is it exactly the same process if you're just updating it?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so we do need to keep it in parallel then, that if it does take that long, so we do need to work on it then if we need to go through.
And one of the things that would be interesting is that we basically didn't need to allocate space for, because we just allocated the whole, we protected Tregurrian and Water, I suppose it would be Whipsey. We protected those, and then we just said the whole of the parish of Newquay is development land. And that covered our targets comfortably. Now, whatever the target's going to be next, again, I think it's probably not, there's going to be a target within Newquay, so we have to be quite clear that we're going to have to deal with that. That's going to be complicated.
So I think we do need to create the working
We
party
certainly will
and
need
sort
the
of like,
working
and I
party.
think we need to start getting in the habit of meeting more regularly and really start going through it and what we need to update and what we can do, you know, what we do need to change and things. Because I'd quite like, in terms of the areas of protection, like the bungalow areas, I think we'd still just start need to delineating the bungalow areas for our ageing population. As like other authorities have done.
They seem to be saying that the Cornwall local plan will start in 2026. It's roughly what I picked up from the training sessions. And they've got to do it in 30 months. And everything is going into it. So while we have a separate climate change document and a separate allocation document, there's going to be one socking great document, which is the Cornwall local plan.
Sorry, you said 2026, do you mean 2028?
No, I mean 2026, and they're finishing by 2028. That's where they're talking about starting.
Starting in
Yeah.
2026, right.
So do I need to propose that about
If you, because there may be people not on this committee who would like to be part of the working party. If you like, I'll come back to the next meeting
if we could.
and just say what we need to do to create
that'd be
working
great.
parties, if that's
Is
okay.
that okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant.
But
Okay.
we have to bear in mind that it took us 5 years to do the first one, which we weren't expecting. But we're talking if we start now,
Okay.
and one of the things we will have to probably start with is getting a steering group
Yeah.
of people who are interested,
Yes.
because normally they're
In
supposed
updating
to
the neighbourhood plan.
getting the administration going for that.
And it's sort of like the heritage area that you've been working on identifying, that probably needs going in there as well. So I think there are things that need updating and changing that would be too like. So yes, if you can come back with us, Duncan, that would be great. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question on that?
Yes.
Do we need to say about our interests, whether we even consider it even from this group now?
No. No.
Whether we'd actually want to be on that one just from the group now?
I'll just come back to the next meeting
For the protocol for that.
and just sort of say, oh, this is what how Andy wants us to do it.
Okay.
And I think we just go with what I'll take advice from Andy and come back and report it back to everybody. I think that's the easiest thing to do.
Before was we scheduled the first Monday morning
Of
date
the month,
the first
wasn't it?
Monday
Yeah.
morning. And we stuck to that, and then but towards the end,
We lost it, didn't we?
there was no point because we knew the local plan was going, and we have to agree with the local plan, and we have to agree with the NPPF, which has changed and may change again. So it's.
Can I make a point about the parking working group?
Yes.
Because we were in Quora for our last meeting, and we were going to look at what I'd got back from the FOI.
Oh, we were for the last meeting, weren't we?
So that's not that data hasn't been looked at.
I think it's a useful one to set up because we have to respond incredibly quickly when they suddenly zap something they're going to do in 2 months' time.
Yeah.
So we need.
You've probably got something to do already.
So we need a car parking working party then.
That is cross the council, so you
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
people who are interested.
So that's another thing to go back to Andy then.
So I'll
for
take
that.
advice on. Well, are we still going to keep the community governance review working party?
Well, judging by what Drew said the other day, I don't think you were there. I mean, it's effectively that we were not satisfied with the fact that they refused to change the parish. We can't do anything for 2 years, but it must be getting on 2 years now.
Community governance review was 2019. That was when I started the work.
It didn't get finished though till about 2020, but they didn't make the
It
final
was
decision.
finished pre-COVID, I'm sure it was.
No, I carried on.
Or was it post-COVID? I'm sorry, I've got the memory of the goldfish.
We went in and tried to do an amendment, so I reckon that was about 2023. So but effectively, I don't think Cornwall Council are very happy about that. I actually mentioned, I said, I think we might be coming back, and they said, oh, you know, there wasn't any.
Just to cheer them up. Okay. Yeah, car parking thing. And are we still getting the data? When's the annual thing for getting the car parking data?
Well, it's as and when we choose to do it. So we did it.
So I did an FOI request in April, was it?
Yeah.
And
we had that.
And I've got that, but nobody's looked at it.
Okay, so I'd quite like to look at that.
That should give you the whole of the. That should give you the whole of that year.
Yeah.
And then the other time we look at it is probably about October, November, because that will pick up the season.
But it would also
be ready for when they suddenly come in and say they're going to do a
but we've got we want it then to pick up the car parking changes for the month from then going back to pay and display, because I do really have a concern about St George's car park being able to park there for a week for £23.80.
You've got 2 sets of FOI now that I've got back for you that you can now compare. We didn't have the meeting, so it didn't get looked at.
And the other thing, of course, is whether they do or do not outsource the 4 car parks.
Yes.
I mean, there's
that looks
moves
good.
in Cornwall. I don't think they will be able to stop that. I don't think
contracts have been signed, haven't they?
They've signed too many contracts, and it will cost too much money to reverse. But there are moves for that, which suddenly takes us down to we need to be set up some way we can liaise with Corsair. But effectively, the control over costs.
Yeah, we've lost the lot, haven't we?
We will lose. I mean, they've totally badly managed it over the.
Yeah.
I mean, they've lost money.
Yeah.
We put the price of the car park closest to Bristol down. I think, who does that in their right mind?
So yes, I think when we get the car parking working party back up, then we can look at the data then really, and we can do that. So that would be quite good.
The other thing it does is it deals with TROs. We don't know yet whether there's going to be a local highway scheme budget, but we're hoping there will be.
That's still the one I want to deal with. Didn't deal with it the first 4 years, and still want to deal with it this junction. It's still not been dealt with.
Yeah.
Get on the working party.
That was on the last one. I still want to be on it.
Okay, wonderful. Where we got to? Financial statement. No. Wonderful.
Zero in the last year's budget.
Yeah. But we still got our money going in, haven't we? Annual leave for the neighbourhood plan. I think, yeah. Right. Other correspondence. So we've got the Peel notification, AG 15. PA 2408723, which Cornwall Council objected to this, haven't they?
Yeah, and we did as well. I don't think that we need to get involved in this because this is really unusual. This was an application for a lawful development certificate where somebody on Bedown Meadows had built something in their back garden and asked for a lawful development certificate, but the application said like, oh, we did it last year or something. They should have put in for a retrospective planning application, and they didn't. They asked for an application for lawful development. Gillian, we come across these from time to time, and they are basically, there's a 4-year moratorium, so if something's been done 4 years ago, you can avoid planning permission and just get one of these certificates. But in their application, they said that they'd done it like a year ago. And there was no evidence to suggest anything else. And so we objected, Cornwall Council refused it, and bizarrely they've gone to appeal. This is all about them being able to evidence that they built this structure over 4 years ago, and by their own admission they didn't. I don't think there's really anything that we can add to that.
No, so that was the reason we
Yeah.
Planning permission for a store and a garage, you can make it into a 1-bedroom annex.
I don't know. But anyway, so what I was saying was, looking at it sort of reasonably quickly, I don't think there's any need for because these applications are all about evidence, and they just didn't provide any, and they admitted that they've not done it 4 years ago anyway. So I think that, to be honest, I think that the inspector's going to be able to do that one over breakfast, but
Well, you never know.
no.
Here's yeah, next one, the AG15 was the notification for the Street Trading Committee, which was for the Barraboys thing just outside Marcus Hill here on the junction. And we really wanted some more information, of which no more has been forthcoming. And it's gone to, I don't know if this is a standard thing, has not been reached between, an agreement has not been reached between you and the applicant. Is that standard?
I think so, because there was,
Okay.
I'm completely unaware of any
We haven't had any come
correspondence
back
either
at
way.
all.
I'll very
Get
quickly.
involved with talking to them. We go back to the licensing officer and they tell us.
Yeah.
I don't think that
So-
we've ever had one before, have we? This is a
No.
picture of the hand cart. It's a lovely looking thing.
But it's put directly on the junction outside the offices here, and we expressed concerns actually exactly where it's going to go. For when you're a car at the bottom of Marcus Hill, and then turning and looking to see the bus lane, it blocks your view. And actually, when I was giving Joe a lift home, and there was something there, and I said exactly. And also this afternoon, with the new bed going out here, our truck to water the plants on the bed there, JC actually backed it in where that was going to be. So,
It's not our land though, is it? It's public land.
Yeah, it's owned by Cornwall Council. Yeah.
It's Cornwall Council, but we were concerned as well that it was where it's going to be in terms of the emergency exit for the car park, and getting up there, which is used sometimes as well. The committee will take place on the 25th of June, which unfortunately I can't make. So are we upholding this? And if we are, then who might be able to attend that committee?
Well, I'll probably be there anyway as the divisional member.
But will you have a conflict of interest then if it's sort of
No.
sat outside the town council office?
I don't think so.
No.
What date is it? The 25th of...
25th, and these tend to be 10 o'clock. We've not received the invite yet, but they tend to be 10 o'clock in the morning.
I could do it, but I would need you to fill me in on what I should be saying.
Yeah, I think it's just a shame that they didn't come back with us or
We
negotiate
normally-
exact
that's what I was saying.
placement.
We normally expect to negotiate. You
Yeah,
see.
yeah, and we've heard nothing.
It's on possibly the worst junction anywhere in UK.
Yeah, and it's sort of like with people,
No,
and where they're queuing and everything in terms of blocking visibility for drivers, which is dire in many ways, with cyclists coming down from the right and buses and everything coming up from there, and
so we're actively
pedestrians wandering
saying
around.
we wouldn't be happy to have it on any point on that square.
No, not really. I think just on safety and highways.
We've got
Really.
quite, there's that's the representation that went in. So it's just those points.
We can't raise anything else.
No. So, I mean, if you can make that, Joanna, that'd be amazing.
What we might do is do it from here.
Yeah.
If you do, yeah. And then, I mean, if you wanted to sit on it as well, Sandy, and then sort of and see how it works, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, leave that with me then, and I'll...
Just because it had been used in the past, I don't think that it's applicable. I mean, think of having that there when all the kids arrived for Boardmasters, and that road was packed. It was solid. It was just a sea of young, of heads of people, and the thought of them then queuing out there on that junction, which is bad enough to negotiate anyway. I think.
People sit on the wall, don't
Yeah.
watch the world go by,
Yeah. And they're going to be sitting looking at the back of that and things, in terms of which way around it's facing and all sorts of things. But not to come back for any negotiation, I think is a bit odd. Right, okay, the next one then is Ocean Housing, which I presume is they're selling off.
Yeah, we have an email, didn't
We had emails, there's 3 properties that they're getting rid of? Yeah. Well, one's in Lane, isn't it? So that's in Colin Parish. Yeah. I do have a concern. We seem to get through every year a number of these, and I find it that, especially one was built in the 90s, wasn't it? Perhaps that was the one in Colin, 67. That it's more money to do it up than it's worth them doing. Well, surely it's not going to be more money than if we were building a new premises from scratch or purchasing. I know it does with VAT.
But when they were renting it, surely they should have made sure, like when it was old corporate council housing, that they would maintain it.
Yeah, I just...
Someone who's done it, and not exactly gotten any comeback.
13 Beachview Close. Do you recall that one? It's got a tiny little box.
Yeah.
That they're going to build, that we looked at as
Yeah.
not long ago, yeah? That was one of those properties that they sold off. And they did put a load of money into a load of properties. We saw several of these letters last year, and then we got a planning permission where they'd thrown all that money out. I can't remember if it was Hawkins Road or somewhere along there, and they'd improved some quite run down flats. They had done something with it, so it's not like they're just pocketing the money.
Yeah. So I don't think it's just a point of noting, isn't it? We haven't got
It's just a point of noting.
Nothing we can say about it.
I know when he was a councillor, John Fitter had an issue with this, but I'm not certain that we did so much.
Okay, item 16 then, local planning training. Guys, how are we doing with our training? There's Duncan's attached training timetable that you can sign up for.
I put myself down for all 3.
Oh, go you. Well done.
Yeah, so there's a
What a role
neighbourhood
model.
plan one. I don't.
Worth going to.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the 12th of June.
Then there's a
That's tomorrow.
right that development management. I mean, these are. I think that they're all online, so it's just a matter
They're
of
all
joining.
online.
It's just a matter of joining them, and
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
join them by
Yeah,
the
yeah.
links that I've put down the bottom there.
Yeah.
The development management one will be more general planning. I'd say out of all of them, that would be the. I mean, they tend to be very dry, these planning sessions, but that would
They
probably
are.
be the more useful one, as a more general planning one. And then there's one on enforcement
No.
and appeals.
So any of the that are particularly are new to planning might be worth having grabbing a copious cup of tea and sitting there and.
Are they recorded? Can we watch them back another time?
They do tend to put them on there. What I
Yeah.
might do is I might book room 1A and just sit down and watch it myself, and if anybody else wants to come along, you're very welcome, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that name of the camera would be quite...
Yeah, I wouldn't mind coming along. Because if I do it at home, the dog will have probably attack me.
That one's only an hour. Do you want me to see if I can book a room and you
Tomorrow.
come in for that one?
Yeah, I'll come in.
The one that's tomorrow, neighbourhood plan.
Again,
one.
I can't do that. I'm actually on a Teams meeting with a Nuki and Bloom tomorrow. It's 4 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, I've got my it's at 3:30. Okay, you can do that from home. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll come in.
And anyone else who'd like to
As I say,
do that
I'm
from
at
neighbourhood
home,
plan?
I've got a dog to tame. Blind dog.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, and then the weekly decisions. Well, what a list of weekly decisions. It's humongous, this weekly decision list. Normally it might have 4 or 5 things on here, but there's like weeks worth because we think they all went away on holiday.
Oh, Miss Joanna Kay. What?
Yes. Yeah, yes, Joanna says that. Yeah, it's your application. Yes, yeah. So there's 12 pages.
Did you see anything that tickled your fancy on there? Mr. Drew Creek?
yes, Cowling, Tribou's Farm, that went through, wasn't it? That got approved. Most stuff got approved. I think there was more things down the end that got
I found
closed. Yes,
most interesting.
Yeah.
That one at Pronance Avenue where they wanted to form a crossover and put electric vehicle charging point. It was quite steep.
Yeah.
They refused
yes,
that one.
Yes, yes, Cotton, thank goodness for that. The land south of Gusty Veer, didn't we show concerns about that? Was that one of ours? That was closed. Land for Lansdowne Market Street. Yes, Trinance Avenue, that was refused. There was just so many of them.
Yeah, there is.
No, they haven't refused.
Yeah, I don't think you refused much there either.
No. It's quite interesting. So the
Close, refused. There you go. That's the one that we sat down and looked at.
That was
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
square block, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was refused.
Yes.
There you go.
I bet that goes for appeal though.
That's usually a pre-act.
That would be
Nikki.
Church, Paris Church.
There you go.
Conditions, yeah, there's
Yeah.
tons of decisions on there.
Yes, so if you're really going that, you can look for those. So, does anybody have any news and events they want to? Yes, John.
I've been, remember we had that presentation on the Hotel Victoria.
Yeah.
They've got in touch with me. They want to have a quick meeting with me on the 20th, which is prior to the plans being published on the Monday. That's a Friday. So they're saying the plans are coming up on the 21st, 23rd. So it'd be interesting to see what they're actually going to do.
Okay. Let's hope they're not putting the swimming pool in sort of 2 metres from the edge as an infinity pool.
Well, I'm hoping that he got confused when I asked about the lift, saying it was a centrepiece of the hotel. I thought, oh no, it's right down the centre of that fragile cliff.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he got confused with which lift it was.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what he's got for. Brilliant. Okay, so I think date of next meeting is in 2 weeks, so 25th of June, and hopefully we can all make it then. And I think we can close the meeting. Thank you.